Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode number 271. With me, George, this week joined by a fresh-faced and ever-returning RGT, fresh from the Alpine slopes. He is Switch 2 to my Switch Poo. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. I don't remember being in the Alpine slopes, but, you know, it's...
Well, how else did you get that sunburnt face?
I have no idea. I think it might just be dirt. Because I haven't had a bath this month yet, so...
Standing too near the grill pan, I reckon. You love to see the sausages spit. Let's not mess about. Let's get straight into it. Now, what have you been playing?
Pretty much mostly GTA 4. For those that don't know, that's our
Is
playthrough
this because
game.
you're excluding the Switch 2 games, or is this predominantly what you've been playing, even though you've got a brand new console?
This is my main console. So we were saying we were going to do a playthrough each month, but I think that's probably a bit ambitious. So we're going to play till we're both finished, and then that's me and Zangief, by the way, on our Discord. And then once we're finished, we'll announce a new Gen 7 game, so maybe go with Xbox 360 next time. But anyway, I am...
So just get me...
Come on, here we go. Hold it together, son. Come on.
So you're just going to... What are you going to move on to?
I don't know yet. We haven't decided. But once we've finished the game, we'll announce the next game. So then if anyone would like to join with us on the playthrough, they can. As a few of them have on the GTA 4 one at the moment.
How far have the listeners, have they all kind of concurrent with you, or?
We set mission markers. I think we're a bit all over the place at the minute, because when we actually done the first week of this, I was off for a week. So I hammered home a bit, so to speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wondered if you were all going to get round and beat it simultaneously until it was finished.
Yeah. Well, I was getting there a bit earlier than the others, so I was at mission 30 before anyone else was anywhere near. So
they've been sort of edging along, and you've just sort of...
Well, I've just gone hell for leather at it, which got me a bit ahead, which I did apologise for. And then I was at mission 60 before anyone else. And now
hang on a minute, Gamer, you got a bit ahead of you. Got a bit ahead, did you? Got a bit ahead of yourself.
But I'm now on mission 76. I've technically only got 12 missions left, and I'll finish the game. But I will say, and I know I spoke about this last time I was on, but I mean, what a game. I love this game anyway. It's my third or fourth time completing it, but what a game. I mean, and honestly, George, it got me thinking, I don't know if they make them like this anymore. I don't know if games are made like this anymore.
Well, here's one for you. I woke up from a fever dream and found myself on the show's Discord, and while I was on there, I noticed that you weren't just playing through the stories and the missions. You're out there doing everything.
Yep. Is it
going to include online, or are you just going to stop short the platinum?
I don't think you can. I think the online's dead unless you go onto a special server.
Can you not do that?
I could do, I suppose. I mean, I've been ticking a few of the trophies off I didn't get originally. I've done the Jacob missions, which one of them was you had a timed, it was like drug dealer missions, and you had to get to this area, and that was so tight for time. If you caught any street furniture or a car, that was it. You were out of time. You had to be quick, but eventually done it. And then I'd done all of, which was great fun. Once you do all the Brucey missions, your favourite guy, Brucey. Once you've done all the Brucey missions, he puts you in contact on text with a guy called Steve, and he texts you through cars to steal for him. and it's a specific car in a certain area. So you have to go to that area, find the car, take it back to his garage. But your rewards in money are done on the condition of the car. So you want to get it back there as perfect condition. I think there's only two I didn't get back perfect. There's 30 to collect. So I spent quite a few hours doing those. But I'm on like $800,000 I've got in the bank just from doing these cars. So then that pinged another trophy clearing them. And I've also been doing the Assassin's missions, which I don't think there's many of them, 7 or 8, I think. But I've been doing those as well as the story missions. Like I say, I'm mission 76. And it just is, like we were talking off air during the week. I've got a new TV, 120 hertz TV, but it's got built-in AI on. So you don't have to set your channels up. It automatically knows what's plugged in, and it will set the screen up and sound for that console or Blu-ray player, whatever you're putting in. And the PS3, obviously you've got your frame rate dips at times. It will do the generation. It can't do nothing about that, but the quality of it is phenomenal. And I was just driving around looking at night, and I even sent to my other mate to send him pictures saying, this is PS3 running on my new TV. And he's like, that looks phenomenal. I was like, yeah, I know. This is stunning. And it's just, you were right. I will hand it to you. You were right. You said to me all along, GTA 4, it's a better game than GTA 5. It's more soul in it. There's more life in the city. The story's better. That's a real rags to riches, old school. And I thought, do you know what? You are absolutely bang on with that. And it is fantastic. I'm going to be playing again tonight. I can't wait to play again. I've loved every single minute of it. It is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, can't fault it. If they do, like we was discussing on Discord and that this week, and if the rumours are true and they're doing a remake / remaster of it, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of new people introduced to this game that haven't played this before, dismissed it, or was never, was a bit too young to play at the time. I think there's going to be a lot of new audience introduced to this and think, wow, this is a good game, because it still holds up very, very well. So, yeah, been absolutely loving that. I've also been playing a bit more of a new hidden gem I found for next week's show. So that is for next week's show, because this week's show
that was meant to be this week.
No, it wasn't. You just made that up to make me look bad. I
don't need to do anything.
No, you don't. My lawyers do with that. And then, other than that, it has just been pretty much since Thursday, as of recording, testing the Switch 2. Going through bits.
No,
that is it.
We won't hear anything about that. I won't hear a thing about it.
So, other than that, that is pretty much all I've been playing, young Georgie boy. So, what have you been playing?
Well, before I rip into what I've been playing, a little bit of housekeeping. So, this week we have got the Switch 2 review, which is great news, and we're going to major on that. Obviously, this week we've had Summer Games Fest and a load of other good stuff go on, so we will round all that up and bring you one of our classic bumper news episodes next week. So if you're part of the Unofficial Controller podcast family, you know that we bring you these bumper episodes where we literally drag every single morsel of news out of the air and present it in an episode. We will not leave a stone unturned, but this week we want to major on the Switch 2. Before we get there, it's only right and proper that I mentioned that I've been playing a little bit of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, how's that going? You must be close now, aren't you?
Draw ever closer. I think late 60%. We hit a bit of a brick wall in terms of not having enough potions and lotions in our... Do you need a potion?
What, did it have a bit of a ramp up in difficulty, or has it been a smooth...
Not really a ramp up in difficulty, just... Well, I suppose, yes, a ramp up in difficulty, but more just the developer going, right, let's just ramp it right up for no reason at this point to try and throttle them up a little bit, because, we'd race through it, and as soon as you get to Osgiliath, I think it's called, the latter, maybe third of that, we'd been squeezed up until then, ran out of potions, all that sort of good stuff, and... things started to get a bit more difficult. We died a few times, so we jumped back to the start of the game and literally walked through. It felt longer than this when we first played it through, but we literally walked from start to finish. And we skipped Moria. But yeah, and had a few battles with some low level enemies just to sort of balance people out, mix the team up, learn some new skills. Because if you don't play them, you don't get the skills. If you play them and don't use their certain craft, you don't get that skill unlocked, and it unlocks more and
Okay.
more skills as you do it, or spells, or sword craft as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So we then arrived back at the front line, much better prepared. We had a whole host of King's Fall leaves. We'd done some crafting and found some bags of old Toby along the way. If you know this game, you know that's a good thing. AP and HP all in one. Yeah, it's nice. We've moved it on a little bit for a ring wraith on one of its dragon thingies the other night, and then had to subsequently fight 4 more in a row after that. So that's where the game lets itself down, and where I say the developer, like, yes, there were multiple ring wraiths, but I don't necessarily want to fight their dragons one after another. And again, my comment last week of being the festival cleanup team. You arrive on the Monday as everyone's leaving, going, "Oh, that was great." You know, David Bowie came back from the dead and he rode a firework into the air while mic'd up and singing Space Oddity. It was incredible. While you're picking up what you think's a can of Carlsberg, but to be honest, is half full of someone's urine. Maybe a dirty, sort of dust-ridden David Bowie T-shirt on the floor, so that you can dust off and maybe wear if Mumsy gives it a wash. But yeah, it's as close to greatness as you're going to get, and that's Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. And that sounds like I'm doing it dirty, but I'm not. It's still a great game.
Going to see it through, do you think, to completion?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm compelled to now. It feels like such a... I was playing it with Rachel. I said, "Do you know what? This, the only thing..." Because it starts up and it gives you the THX intro, not...
Oh, wow.
Like, wow, this feels like a movie that put the effort in, and then you get the studio logo for Lord of the Rings come up, and it's like, oh, that feels special. And then,
Good on your surround sound as well, I expect.
Exactly, boom, 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 and it comes up, and it's like Lord of the Rings in almost the most basic way, with a blue background of Minas Tirith or something in the background. And I said, "Oh, it's a shame about this. This is what holds me back. It feels a bit naff on the front end." And she went, "No, it doesn't. If you think about it, we've had THX, we've had the movie intro, and doesn't this feel like a DVD menu?" And I was like, yeah, it does. It really does.
Brilliant.
How very 2005. Absolutely brilliant. And then bar some Switch 1 games in readiness for this week, just to sort of cast in my mind as they were that moment, and to wrap the Switch up in its mummy-like case one last time. I did cry a little tear, as I kind of packed her back up in her case. She's been an absolute stalwart for me, and I'm a big, lover of the Portal. But with the Portal, you're always taking that roll of the dice that the hotel is going to have good enough internet to make it work. You're taking that roll in the dice that it's not. You get to the hotel and it's tenner a night to use the Wi-Fi. You get 30 minutes free, and after that, it's like, oh. Switch was always like, here I am, tiny little case, just unzip me. You want to touch me. I said, okay. And it's there, no questions. Put the cart in. You don't need the internet to make it work. And as we'll get into later in the episode, that's probably going to be the thing that pushes the Switch 2 up in my use case.
Without a doubt.
So, with all that said and done, let's segue straight into the Switch 2 review. Now, may I wax lyrical, and then you can jump on and off, and then we'll switch to you? We'll pirouette.
Yeah, or do you want to start with a bit of go through the hardware first, compare that between us, and then we'll jump into software and bits and pieces?
Okay, get your hardware out. I mean, I've got a Switch 2. What have you got?
Well, I've got Switch 2, I mean. I knew you'd say that, so I had it on standby. It's a prop. Here's one I made earlier.
Brilliant.
I must admit, I was surprised in a good way when unboxing Switch 2. It's got some weight to it, which I'm very impressed with. I was dubious of the Joy-Cons and their new magnetic thing, but you've got nothing to worry about with that so far. I mean, it's early days, obviously, we know that. So don't forget, everyone. Everyone is, everyone's got different opinions on the Switch 2. These are just ours, what we think of it. So there's no
I don't
right
care
or
about
wrong.
other people's opinion.
I know
They're
you
just
don't.
looking for clicks.
Yeah.
Absolute dirtballs.
But I think the Joy-Con connection and a magnet and a little bumper you pull to release is genius. I think it's brilliant. It's very secure, way more secure than the rails. Feels really good. The new size is good. I've got big old hands with sausage fingers, so bigger Joy-Cons is way better for me. Plays really well. I know people are saying the analog sticks are the same as what's in the Switch, but whether they've refined them or what, I don't know, because they feel better to me. They feel nicer to use.
I think I could come round and sell you a suit made out of fresh air.
Yeah, probably. And I know what you're like at sales as well, so no doubt. Also, screen. My previous Switch from my Switch 1 was an OLED. So I've compared brightness of the screens to see what they are.
That's
Very
interesting.
very, very close, but you were correct, George. The LCD is brighter.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favourite podcast app now.
I don't like being this right because it's almost posting me up as some sort of untouchable gaming celebrity. I don't like this.
Steady, but no, you were right. You're 100% right. And I'll tell you what,
I'm always right, and that's what I'm right about those haters for clicks.
Yeah, true. I jumped in on the Switch Lite and then went to an OLED. I never had an OG Switch. But when I saw comparison videos of the Switch Lite to the original Switch, it made the original Switch screen look almost yellowy, a bit dull and yellowy. So then when I got the OLED, it then made the Switch Lite look off not perfectly white on your home screen, look slightly yellow and not as bright as the OLED. Now the Switch 2 has now done that to the OLED. When I compare them, the OLED looks slightly yellow, not as close. It is close, but it's definitely brighter on the Switch 2. Plus, you've got that 8-inch screen, which so far of what I've played in handheld is a very good screen. LCD, obviously, not an OLED, but it's, like you said, LCD technology's moved on since the original Switch. It's very good from what I've done so far, what I've played. Dock-wise, obviously now the dock's got the built-in fan. It's a bit chunkier. You've got your two USBs on there as well. Similar setup. You know, you pop the switch in, you're playing a game, and it comes up on your TV. Away you go. So, yeah, I'm impressed with that. It's bigger than the original dock, but it's still got that. It's still quite sleek. You know, I'm a bit tight for space where I've got mine, but that slots in a little gap there, nice. There's no, you don't need a massive unit to put it in. So overall, hardware wise, I think it plays well. I think it looks good. I think the screen's good. I think the dock's good. Overall, I'm very impressed. Even with the stand, I think the stand's sturdy. That's that new sort of U-shaped stand. I think it's very good. You've got the extra USB on the top, so you can now sit it down and charge it rather than having to do what I done with my little Hori stand on my Mark 1. So every little thing has been refined. I think they've looked. I know you're going to laugh at the Hori stand. I think every little thing they've looked at and they've refined it. They've done the little refinements to make it that almost an ultimate handheld console, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed, to be honest. What about you, hardware-wise? What do you think? Yes, we had a little unboxing together, so come on.
Let me tell you, from the minute I got it in my hands, First of all, I was surprised with the size of surprised and impressed. That's why I said suppressed. With the size of the box, I thought it was compact. It was nice. The branding on the front was on point. We've obviously seen it all, but to get it in the flesh in your hands, it was good feeling.
Yeah.
In terms of the unboxing experience was also nice.
I thought that was good. Where even your delivery box you opened up had Mario in and the red inside before you took the Switch box out. I thought that was quite a nice little touch as well.
The whole thing I thought was nice. The trays inside, as you say, getting it out, the slimness of the screen. Initially, the Switch itself.
There we go. That was
the Joy-Cons.
Delivery box. Look, that's not even the main Switch box. So
I didn't
visual.
get that. But I
Did you
buy
not?
things from the. Well, why would I have that? I didn't get it from my Nintendo.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Carry on. eBay.
And it's a great console, to be fair. Everything about it that I've touched has felt like an upgrade. The dash, though not completely reworked, feels fresh. There are some questions which we'll get onto when we get into the UI that I have about that, but overall the Joy-Cons feel snappy. To be honest, if we are being genuinely honest, I've always found playing the Switch with the Joy-Cons either side of the screen very jerky. Very jerky in terms of player movement and control. You're all over the shop, and there's no nice way of saying it. I don't know whether it's the way I hold the controllers or what, but I have noticed when other people play, they're kind of jerking the right stick around because they feel, I don't know whether it's because they're short throw. I don't know whether it's because they're on the very extremes of the console. It's just something that I've been aware of from Switch 1 to this. When you're playing in handheld mode, the ability to put in fine, tight, motor movements is very reduced, or it takes a hell of a lot of getting used to. It's a pretty steep learning curve with playing it in handheld. And, I'm the guy who played a hell of a lot of Switch 1. So I'm not here to criticise necessarily the form and function, but certainly some of the implementation sometimes on some games, notably for me, Cyberpunk, where I must look like a guy I must look like Scotty from last week's episode. I've had about 6 Monster Energies and I don't know what to look at first. You walk into a room and I'm like, it's like the guy straight at me and I'm like, wow, what are you doing, George? Looking at your shoes. Oh, yeah, he's straight at me now. About 2 inches off my face. Like, hello, how are you? Welcome to Night City, baby.
Yeah, I found it a lot. I haven't played enough handheld on the 2 to know that. I found it a lot on the 1. And I then transferred to the bigger, the Hori, what were they, Pro pads on the side, and that stopped all that. They were more like proper halved controller on
but
either
I don't
side.
buy a Switch to go out and buy a third-party excuse for an answer for a solution they should have done out the gates, plus I want it to be flat. So, it's OG Joy-Cons for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because it is... No, but that is a nightmare. The Hori ones don't fit in any cases unless you buy a Hori case. You've got to take them separately. It takes
I don't want that driven.
No, that's fair enough.
Too.
Yeah, no,
if
that's fair enough.
If they can't do it out the gates, then not acceptable. It's okay. I guess I could dial the sensitivity down. And that's really in here, so it's not just an absolute Nintendo Switch 2 puff piece, which this is actually going to degenerate into. External speaker quality, absolutely flawless, very loud. You can go into the settings and select it to do a surround sound function, which actually works really well, especially if you're sat up against a wall or something. It really does bounce off there, give you that feeling.
Sorry to just jump in. That's another thing I noticed as well. Then playing on the OLED, from playing on the Switch 2, the speaker was like tinny, and I was like, ooh, that hit home a bit. That sounds a hell of a lot better on the Switch 2. I didn't notice it with the OLED till I've got the Switch 2, and I suddenly thought,
well, my transition point is from like a Mark 1 Switch 1 that wasn't new when I got it. It'd been well looked after, to be fair. The difference has been stark. I'll be honest.
Yeah, because you've missed out from the light to the OLED. You've gone straight from an OG Switch to a Switch 2.
I didn't really see. You always used to preach to me about the OLED, and I looked at it, and the screen's brighter. But you're talking to the guy who had an OLED Vita and then an LCD Vita and didn't really think much difference between them. In fact, I preferred the LCD because of the form function.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, me personally, I love the OLED. The screen brightness and colours and the pop really was a massive jump from I thought from the OG. But this again is another jump again, which I think is brilliant. But also, I think for you to go from an OG Switch Mark 1 to this Switch 2, that must have been, whoa, hang on.
It was. Before we got distracted, I was saying that I also attached my Bluetooth headphones to it. They're only stereo. And within that menu to make the console surround sound, you can also use it to take a pair of stereo speakers and make them surround sound to make them surround sound as well.
Oh, wow.
And Nintendo haven't crowed about this. They've made no big song and dance about this. But right there in the settings, you select it. It does a little test. And I heard a sound from in front of me and a sound from behind me. And I thought,
No
you know
way.
what? That's incredible. Sony did a massive half-hour video about Mark Cerny going on about the shape of people's ears. And he still hasn't been able to get it working for surround sound. What they're doing.
I mean, I don't have surround sound. I use what I'm wearing now, my Pulse, which actually worked on the Mark 1 Switch. Be interesting to see what they sound like on the Switch 2. I take it they're compatible.
I have absolutely no idea.
I'll have to try that out. I'll let you know next week how we get on.
You'll have to plug your dongle into your Switch, though.
That's what I used to do on my old Switch.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, well, who knows? And generally the fit and finish, there's no more of that wobbliness with the Joy-Cons attached to the console itself. Before with the old school Joy-Cons, you had that wobble, even on a new one, because I thought, is it because it's used? And I had to go with the new ones. Like, no, it's exactly the same. So that always left me feeling like I was playing with a toy.
It felt fragile.
I don't know if it felt fragile. It just felt a bit.
You felt the
wonky.
flex sometimes, yeah.
I felt the flex every time, and it was like you had to get yourself in a position where you kind of flexed it one way so you didn't move, so it didn't do it again. This one, though, feels like a real premium piece of gaming 2025. It's literally bolted together from top to bottom in a real nice way. Fit and finish of the top and bottom vents, perfect. Fit and finish of that top USB-C or whatever it's called, as you say, perfect. The bottom one as well, great original position. I haven't tried it docked. It's all been handheld. I've been literally having just the time of my life sat on the sofa. And when we get into discussing games, I'll go into this a bit deeper, but I've never been so absorbed into Cyberpunk 2077, sat sort of roughshod on a sofa with my headphones on, than I have even sat with a TV screen and a full surround sound set up and the lights out, the whole bag of tricks. I was more absorbed into this moment, handheld, than I've ever been on a screen with that game. I'm not saying it was like mind-blowing, it was the best experience, better than any gaming experience I've ever had. No, I'm not. But in that moment, it grabbed me and it pulled me into the screen, and I was in the world. And I think that's my point. I was in Night City in that moment without question. I just let go. And normally I need all the ephemera, the lights, the TV, the surround sound, all of it, just with my cheap-ass little Sony headphones on, Bluetooth, sat there. I was gone. And
I think also there's always been a compromise with handheld gaming.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in that moment, I was gone. And that was the first time that, for me, that it made me realise that the Switch 2 has come up. I never had that with the Switch 1, ever. It was like I'm playing a game on this little toy. Never, ever had it. Doesn't matter where I was playing, Witcher or whatever it was. This time around, boom, it was gone. Now, you say there's always been a compromise. There has. Are we at no compromise?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Even with the OLED, what a great system it is, you always had to compromise from going from a TV screen to take it with you, a smaller. And yes, the Switch 2 is still smaller than a TV screen. I know that, but there's something about the real estate of that screen, the LCD, the pop of the colours, and now you said the surround sound, your earphones, it's more immersive. Yet the thing is now that's that hybrid side of it that you can get immersed in your TV and your surround sound at home. You can pop it out, pop your earbuds in, and away you go, and you've still got that immersiveness on the go, which, you know, I'm not saying that's the first time it's happened, but it must be one of the, it must be one of the first, I would imagine, that has done that. I know we've got the Steam Deck and that. I don't know how. I've never had a Steam Deck, so I don't know what that works, the surround sound and bits and pieces, or the immersiveness. But yeah, it's definitely up there, I think, for
I would
especially.
say the Steam Deck's probably doing all the flashy bits that the Switch 2 is doing right now. But for me, I know the Steam Deck's more powerful, but I don't want to carry around that obscene looking thing. Actually, I'll take that back. I know you've all got one. But for me, I go travelling a lot. I don't want that in my bag. Even the Portal's obscene to me to take. I just want to slot my Switch. And that was the good thing about the Switch. It just slotted in. It was nothing.
You're saying exactly the same as, forgive me, I forget his name, off Digital Foundry, the American guy. And they were doing a live stream the other day, and they said about this, is the Switch 2 going to take over from your Steam Deck when you're traveling? Because he travels a lot. And he said, to be fair, when he did travel, he tended to prioritise his Switch anyway, because of the size, and had to slot it in his bag rather than the Steam Deck was big and bulky. He had to take it. He said occasionally he did, but the Switch was always prioritised that because
prior to the Switch, I would rock up everywhere with a Vita or a PSP or something. But the Switch was like, wow, this is a step up. Vita was great, but this is a step up. Switch 2, blown the doors off it, dude. Literally. My expectations were, I mean, as everybody knows, last week I forgot it was even coming out. Right? And Scotty reminded me, I was like, oh, wow, I thought it was the end of June. It's actually beginning of June. Great. And it's come and slapped me like a wet fish. I'm desperate to get back on it. Moving on with the review into what I want to talk about, which is the UI, if I may. Switch 1 at the end, and it got degeneratively worse during the course of its life. It did, as all these things do. But transition of the menus, especially the internet-based menus, i.e. the shop or the Nintendo Switch Online icon on the left-hand side, was slow. And it was glitchy. And it would take a long time to load, and even if it did load the pictures, it might not load the words. Again, RGT, not a massive redesign, but a redesign nonetheless. One that I'm pleased to see because it marks that transition to, this is a new thing. I know when you get into some of the sub-menus like settings, it's like, oh, here we are, we're back on the Switch again. Now, one of the things... So generally favourably good things to say about that from me, but one of the things that I'm finding quite odd is the virtual game card page. Hang on a minute, but we've got the all software page again on the right-hand side that determines whether it's on the console, whether it's cloud, whether it's a card game, or whether it's not. Would it not have been easier just to add another menu, add another icon to the menu when you click on those games there anyway?
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I got the stage where I was just thinking, this is getting a bit confusing now. I'm not quite sure. Virtual game cards, downloads, what's on the system. I was just like, this is... why not just go to the right, click on the game. If it's a cart-based game that you own, it will say you can insert it, but you can't virtually share it. Or if it's a cloud game you've downloaded, there's an option to either download it again to the console, or there's an option to just share it with a friend for 7 days with all the associated legal jargon. Why put 2 layers of penetration on this menu to do exactly the same thing as you could have done? Is it to make it feel new? Maybe. Is it to make a big thing of these game cards being a thing? Maybe. Is it hidden behind some sort of Nintendo digital architecture to protect your games from being pirated? Hey, do you know what? Maybe. But it's not even pretty to look at. When I went in there and I saw the image on the cart, I was like, oh, wow, is it going to give us some info? Maybe a little bit of manual, bit of history of the game. This is exciting. What is it? No, nothing. Just pops up, floats. Virtual game card.
Or download. Why does this screen exist? Again, I want to be honest about the things that irk me, which are minimal, because I don't want this to be a puff piece. But that's odd. But then again, am I looking for a problem? Really? I don't need to go down there. It's just when I did, I just got hella confused. I thought, what's this?
Yeah, no, I did as well. It's an odd thing because we've obviously got you obviously got your digital games, you've got your virtual game cards, and you've got your game cards, and it's now you've got the three options. It almost they sort of blur into one. You get a bit confused as to what.
Don't they?
And then when you're buying a game, you've now got to look on the box to see if it's a virtual game card or whether it's actually.
Oh, listen, that element of buying it in the shop, I don't give a rat's ass if it's a download code, it's a card or not. I know the collectors are like, oh, but when I put my red spine piece of plastic on the shelf, it irks me to know there's a piece of paper in there or a piece of plastic. Wow, mate. You know, you need something to worry about. Some people are worried about where their next meal's coming from.
I mean, exactly. And I mean, it is a step up from having a download code in a box, which was absolutely ridiculous on the Switch
But it still
one.
gave collectors a thing to have on the shelf, like they've got that game. You know, to me, it was like, well, if
Yeah,
it's
maybe, but
nice,
it's
it's
just-
okay.
you're just buying an empty box, you know. But anyway, at least this one
are
you've got
anyway.
a card. Yeah, but you've got. I suppose at least you've got a game card in there. I know it's not literally on there, but at least you've got a game card. I mean, a bit of
Even
paper.
some of the OG Nintendo Switch games I bought, there was a hell of a lot of downloading going on before I could. And I
Well-
can't play the game. I can't play it yet. I've got to wait for an install. Hang on. This doesn't feel like the game's on the card, RGT. There's ways of life
No.
and there's ways of not.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's how this virtual game card will work. We'll see going forward. I'm a bit with you. I mean, if I'm going to, yes, I'm a collector. I like collecting my games, but if I'm going to buy a game that's on a virtual game card, I'll buy it on a virtual game card and I'll play it. It's not going to stop me buying it.
I'm a lapsed collector. As it stands, I'll still pick up physical when I can. I had the wing completely took out my sales when I got the PS5 Pro because I lost my disc drive. But with the Switch, I looked how many games I'd bought digitally, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah,
It was embarrassing.
yeah, I agree with you on that. I bought a lot digitally on there. When the sales come up, I'd watch Switch Up on YouTube on a Sunday night. Oh, I'll snap that up. And then you look and think, whoa, there's a lot on there.
There's a lot on there, but from the portability point of view, I don't really want to take a load of cases.
No, you're right. You are bang on. You are correct.
I don't want to have to be like that guy on the plane going, excuse me, madam, I just need to reach into my bag to get my copy of Zelda out. And she's like, oh my God, what a virgin. You literally make him a skin. You are repellent to me. So I'm really sorry. I've just dropped my little, I've dropped my Yoshi plush. Just hang on. She's like, oh my God, what an
Do you know what?
nerd.
This is a true story and happened to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. I can tell. As soon as you said Yoshi plush, yeah, that's you. That's you.
Yeah. Are you
Don't know,
riding it? No, I'm not. No. But yeah, you just don't want to. You just want to be able to get your console out. You get bored of one game, go in the menu, flick to another one. Especially on a portable. I don't mind burning the calories, gamers, when I'm at home. I don't mind. But and again, the Switch, I'm laid in Switch 2, I'm laid in bed, Cyberpunk 1 minute, boom, F1 Manager the next, boom, Witcher 3 the next, boom, I'm on this, that, and the other. I'm in and out like a Cub Scout on a bloody day trip to Amsterdam. It's incredible, RGT.
Yeah, there is something to be said for that. As I said, I'm a physical collector, but having that all on that one device, if you go on holiday and then you've got 30 games on there, it is a big difference just having it on that one system that you could just, you ain't got to take an extra case. You ain't got to, we were discussing
Look at
game
it this way,
cases.
mate. You never have to withdraw. You never got to pull out from the moment. You're just in it. No question.
Like I was saying, we were discussing about game cases when we were talking before, and yes, they are quite sleek and small, but there's still something extra you got to take. And if you want to put that in a case, you need a bigger case, and it all adds up. Having them on digitally, yes, it is a plus point. I know people are saying, GT, I can't believe you're saying this, but
you either rock up digitally wearing just a naked Switch, right? You've just got it there, or you're that freaking nerd who comes with a suitcase full of ephemera. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got my Game Boy screen adapter, so he's putting that on. You end up with a Switch that's here.
You know the worst ones, don't you?
gadgets.
They get this Switch and they get one of them little cube blocks like that, and that all open up and all the games are in it. Oh, look at my little Mario
it got
block.
personal. Got personal.
Sorry? No, I was just saying, you open a little Mario block up. Oh, look at all my games
Hang
all
on,
stored in
this
here.
means that you have a suitcase of effects, which I didn't know. So you thought I was getting personal. You're like, how dare you? How dare you?
When we finish recording, when I finish
case
recording, I have literally got a mini briefcase for the Switch,
Mate.
so I can take all my
I
horror.
see why you got your chest out all Mal Evans now, and then went after me for my tiny little.
No, I just suddenly thought of your little cube block. And when you were saying about having, I thought I can't mention the cube block.
Mention it. I mentioned it last week. I love it. It's small, although now I've seen now I've seen yours. It's nothing really, but
I'll show you when we finish recording. I'll show you. You'll be like, I am absolutely disgusted in you, RGT. That is ridiculous. You do not need to take that around with you.
well, what can I say?
Yeah,
I'm the woman on the plane.
it's literally hand luggage on a plane.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yes, go digital.
Anything to declare? Absolutely nothing. I'm probably the most boring person you'll ever meet. Feel free to look through.
That's that bad. Mrs. RGT gets a seat in a different part of the plane.
Fair play to her.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about? Is it the games?
Yeah, I think we've covered the UI a bit. Like I say, we were talking about UI. UI is very similar to your Switch One. Very similar. It's just a more streamlined. Also, eShop is really good now. eShop compared to the original eShop, which was just, if you remember, boo, 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 it was all it was. But with Switch 2 now, I mean, I think they've done the update on there just before the Switch 2 came out. So I think they've done the update on that when on the Switch 1. So the eShop's now red, it's not yellow, and it's just quicker, it's snappier, because the old one was a bugbear to go through. But yeah, so eShop's definitely improved. UI, but, I always thought the old UI worked quite well, so I don't know if it needed really to be changed that much. But
no, I'm glad they did though. They've refreshed the icons. I just, I know this gripped a few people when the Xbox came, the Series X came. It continued the UI from the previous system, and that's great for uniformity and everything, and certainly from a user experience. But over on the PS5, it was a redesign, and do you know what? Maybe not always for the better sometimes when I'm using it. I still have the Pro at Rachel's, and it's just like up to the top, across to the right, I'm out. Now it's like hold down the bar, the home menu feels separate from the game. It's okay, but is it better? No. Is it worse? No, not really. Whereas the Switch 2, they've not insulted my intelligence. I've not just walked in, they've handed me the same device. They've redesigned the icons. They've reworked some elements of the home screen. They've added the virtual cards. But yes, it very much feels like home in a way. But one that's been freshened up. You come home and changing rooms have been round. Like Sir Alan Bowen's been in the virtual game card area. You're not too keen. You're hoping he's going to leave so you can get the decorators around just to paint it white again.
He's got a new dado rail up, and that's about it, really.
Dado rail, and he's done a silhouette of him naked, I don't know what that looks like. But, I'm very impressed with the kind of... It's a fresh place to come. The redesign of the Nintendo Switch Online section on the left is very well received. Again, it's not a massive overhaul, but the tweaks, for me, I often go in there to collect up my silver coins to spend on...
A cube to hold all your games in.
No, not even that. Just the virtual software gifts that they give you. Because I do believe they're closing the giveaway area, and they're stopping... And much like Sony is stopping Stars, I do believe Nintendo is stopping their rewards program.
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Which seems a little harsh. So I feel like we've covered all ends of the experience there. You got a Pro controller, though, didn't you? This number 2?
I did, yes.
Are there any other accessories that you got? Because other than the Switch 2 Pro controller?
No, I just got the Pro controller.
Okay, so when did you get a case?
No.
Okay,
No.
so if you drop your Switch 2 Pro controller review, I'll mention a little bit about the case that I got. Did you get a screen protector? Have you got a screen protector yet?
Nope, I haven't. Nope.
You better bag up RGT because you might get something.
Maybe.
Get it done before the weekend's out. Get it off Amazon.
Yes. Okay, mate.
Sorry,
Yeah, I will do. I pre-ordered the Pro controller. First sight when I pre-ordered it, I thought, well, that's probably not much different to the original Pro controller. I was quite surprised when I did get the Pro controller. I loved the original one, played all my games on screen at home because I predominantly play, unlike you, where you play your Switch predominantly handheld, I play mine predominantly docked.
Nice little combination of the two mindsets, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And it was always a very good controller. My favourite controller of all time, as people know, is the DualSense, but the Pro controller is a very close second. I think it's only the extra things you get with a DualSense that makes it top. But the Pro controller is a really well-made gamer's pad, I always think. Feels good, plays well, nice to hold. But the Pro 2 controller, face buttons are slightly bigger, slightly different design. Back buttons, haven't tried those yet, but it's got back buttons. But the analog sticks are superb. They are the smoothest analog sticks. I don't know how they've done it, I know Bada Binks has said on Discord, yep, you wait till they pack up after 3 months and they'll get you to buy you another one. They'll be stick drift, all the rest of it. May well be. But the analog sticks are so smooth. I had a friend come round last night, popped round to see me, and he's bought one, but it's tucked away for Christmas. And he said to me, did you get the Pro Controller? I said, yeah, you feel these analog sticks? And he was like, my God, that is unbelievable. I was like, yeah, I don't know how they've done it. It's a really nice controller to use. Super smooth, really comfortable. It looks as though they took all the best bits of the Pro Controller 1 and same as what they've done with the Switch 2, and they've tweaked it. I think people wanted bigger buttons, give them bigger buttons. They wanted some back buttons, for if they're playing Fortnite or whatever, the back buttons on there. Analog sticks, people said they were a bit crunchy before. They smooth them out. Yeah, it feels really good. Yes, I understand this is a £70 plus controller, $100 in America. I understand that. It is an expensive controller.
Do you know my bugbear? Just
What's
very
that?
quickly, I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. The fact that this console has come with 0 analog triggers.
Yeah.
Angers me.
That's the only thing I was going to get to.
And if they'd had it on the Pro controller, I would have said fair play to you, Ninty. For portability, you've kept that like that. I get it now. I'll get a Pro controller, no question, to play my driving games. But this does not have analog buttons, does it?
No, they're very short drawn, literally button triggers is what they are. Yeah.
Very much like the original Pro controller.
Similar, yeah. Maybe a little more travel, not much, but similar. Yeah, so you are right. It's if that had more travel, like a DualSense on, so you can play your racing games on, this would have been a very good controller to use. Now, well, we'll get to games I've played because one of the games I found it very good to play on. But yeah, overall,
SnowRunner.
yeah, no, overall, I think it is an exceptional controller. It's let down by the triggers, and I understand the against. The fours are really good. It's really nice, brilliant controller. But the against are the triggers, and it is a bit pricey when you can pick up a DualSense for a lot cheaper. That's got a lot more tech. I can understand that, but it is a very good controller. So,
and the Switch 1 Pro controllers compatible, but you just don't get all the gizmos like the game chat, which I'm not overly bothered about anyway.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're compatible.
Weird
but
messaging that, isn't it?
It's basically, yeah, use your Pro controller you got last time, but if you want a chat, you're going to need to buy the Pro controller too. So it's a bit strange.
And no disrespect, and we'll see how this develops, but who wants the chat?
It's the chats to me. I can understand them wanting to have chat. As people play online, bits and pieces, blah blah blah.
They've completely killed that ecosystem on purpose themselves, and now they expect people to go, "Oh wow, yeah, chat." No.
Yeah, And then the little pictures on the screen, if you've got the camera, you can see each other in about pixelated little screens that run at about 5 frames per second. I mean, for some people, for younger people on the Switch too, it's probably going to be good fun if you're playing Mario Kart. You can see your mates, you can play, but it's not really something. I mean, the game chat would probably be handy if we get together on UCP and have another Mario Kart race and that, but we'll see. You know, it's a bit gimmicky, I'd say. But anyway,
Well,
what about your accessories then?
Yes. So the only accessory I have bought 2 items. Let's cover off the first one. Boom. This is the official Nintendo Switch carry case. When I talk about portability, that is what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
if you
that's
have a look
amazing.
on the YouTube video, head over and I'm showing you and that packed in a suitcase or a travel case.
Looks like it's got earrings.
Well, they're the zips, but they actually correspond with the colours of the Joy-Con.
That's good, yeah.
Sides as well, which is cool. Inside, it's got like a like that not crushed velvet, but like a velour kind of
Sort of
felt
suede-y
finish
sort of,
to it
yeah.
inside. Now, it did come with a screen protector, a film one. Now, I took myself off to a surgically prepared laboratory. I sterilised the worktop. I sterilised everywhere. I put on one of those suits. I earthed myself. And I looked at the Switch. It had a piece of dust on it. So I very studiously cleaned it off. I got this thing immaculate. You could have performed a surgical operation with this Switch and no one would have got an infection. It was that clean. I break out the official Nintendo screen protector, and within about 2 seconds of putting it on to the Switch, it had magnetized every single element of dust that had ever existed in the history of mankind since the dawn of time to the back of this film. And as I pulled it off and laid it down on the Switch, I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like a piece of bacon cooked that had been left outside for at least 2 months. It was disgusting. I immediately ripped it off, bathed the Switch down in holy water, which is basically, Miyamoto's tears. Washed it all off. Thought I don't want any of that again. Went on Amazon and ordered, I don't know, a non-brand. I don't know what make it was, but one of those ones with the applicator trays. Fitted that. Looks flawless. Looks almost... It's raised up the thickness of the Switch by about 0.5 millimeter maximum, but actually I think it's actually made more of the screen than was actually... I like to see a slightly...
Is that a glass one? Is it a lot of tempered glass?
Tempered glass,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. One thing that it did come with, though, and I do like my official bits of ephemera, it came... the case, or the screen protector more rightly, came with a piece of Nintendo branded black cloth, microfiber, for cleaning it. And there's also an accessory section of the case, slightly larger than the Switch one because of the slightly more real estate of the console. So instead of getting 8 games, I mean, it's only really meant to carry 6, but I double them up because double the pleasure, baby, triple the fun, as they say.
They certainly do.
And you get that little sort of net carry case underneath it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've laboured on far too long about a carry case, but one thing I would say about it is it gives me the portability to know that I can take the Switch without danger. I had a similar one, but a cloth finish for the Switch one. That's being kicked around in suitcases and chucked in backs of cars, and I'm always on the move from one place to the next, and the Switch has survived in there perfectly. Equally so for this. So, yeah, I would say if you're listening, you're thinking about getting a Switch 2, or you've got one on order, or you've already bought one and you're saving it for Christmas, or maybe another day, or birthday, or whatever it is, do yourself an absolutely massive favour and get yourself a screen protect from Amazon. Because before my one arrived, I literally felt like I was walking around with my testicles outside of my flies, just displayed with a target on them. And that's how I feel when I've got no screen protector on a device that I use. I literally feel like I'm carrying my crown jewels around and asking people to slap them.
I did. I put a one-day one on my OLED, and then once that was tempered glass, and that fitted so well, looked so good, and I felt so much better. I thought, right, done the same to Mrs. RGT's Switch Lite as well. So
I remember when I got my OG Switch factory launch model, that's obviously got that kind of, you can move the screen in and out, can't you? And it don't feel right. And as soon as I slapped the tempered glass one on there, it kind of gave the whole console a little bit more rigidity, but it meant that you couldn't indent the screen like you could before. And it
I
gave
never
you that
thought of
feeling
that. Yeah.
before you put the screen protector on, it felt like you're rubbing your hand across a slightly matte surface. As soon as you put that tempered glass screen protector on, it gave you that OLED feel of having your fingers on that cold feeling the glass on your fingers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Good
there
idea.
you go. Consumer news for the Mark One Switch. Right at the cutting edge.
It's retro now.
As we're at the cutting edge, I want to take you on a journey to the future. 2077, baby. Cyberpunk 2077. Now, the Switch 1 was known for its impossible ports. Heck, you know, I've played the wheels off what we call on the show Switcher 3. I shouldn't think it's a unique catchphrase. You know, we're not that clever. I'm sure someone else has said it. But I've played an awful lot of that. And I was curious because one of the games, obviously, I got the Mario Kart World Bundle, which we'll touch on.
Yeah.
But I also picked up Cyberpunk because whenever I get a new console, I want a big boys game and I want the game. So the game that the company developed and then a big boys game that's normally third party. Now, Cyberpunk 2077, when I played this initially on either PS4 Pro or very early days of PS5, it was obviously at launch for the show. We reviewed it, and if you go back, you can listen to that episode. Now, I never had any bad experiences. I had humorous experiences, but I never had my save wiped or anything crazy like that, or a game-breaking glitch where I couldn't progress. So I know people out there had bad experiences. Mine was never that bad, and although it's been a hot minute since I last played it on PS5, this thing looks incredible. I said to you before, I've never been so drawn into a game, especially a handheld game, in that moment where no longer was there a separation between me and the game, a glass screen and the Joy-Cons. I had entered the game. I know that sounds crazy. It's not virtual reality, anything like that, but that's how the vivid screen, the HDR, the way it looked, the VRR within its own screen, everything was just so good. It looked solid. That first time you open the window in V's apartment, you know, the night after you get there and Night City's illuminated in daylight and you can see into the distance and you can see the signs and you can see the cars. And I just was like, wow. To have this in your hand like this, I know, well, Steam Deck did it 6 months ago, mate. I know it did, but this thing is so thin and slick, and it just felt so right. I was looking in the corners to see where the tape was going to fall down and, you know, reveal a little bit of the texture loading in. And there are elements every now and then, but they're so infrequent to mention them other as a slight sort of, did I see that or not? I think would be do the game a disservice. Everything about it is there. Now, you can tell there are slight texture warpbacks, but compared to The Witcher 3, you know, it's the full fat game running, and it felt so good yet so accessible. And to imagine a game like that become so accessible on the Switch, that I enjoy it like a whole nother way. Sounds are great. Stereo sounds with this headphones and everything. Obviously, I'm not here to review the game necessarily because it's been reviewed a million times before, and I'm a big fan of the storyline. But to review its arrival on the Switch is an honour and a pleasure, and I will see it through and Phantom Liberty over the year. I'm not saying I'm going to rush it through, but over the period of owning the Switch 2, I think Cyberpunk 2077 will be one of those warm, comforting blankets that you can go back to again and again and again during the Switch 2's life. Have you brought a game to review, or are you going to do... What games did you pick up, RGT?
I just got it bundled with Super Mario Kart World, which I've played a bit of that. But I've mainly used mine to just go back over a few of my OG Switch titles to see how this software...
well, do you want to, before we go, because I've got a few games, obviously, I'm sure my experiments in the backwards compatible suite are very different to yours. But before we go down the backwards compatible route and either the upgrade pack route as well, let's talk about Mario Kart World. What do you think to that?
I think it's interesting because I think when you've got a long-lasting IP like Super Mario Kart, like you do with Super Mario and anything like that, I've said this a million times before on the show, you have to do one of two things. You have to keep it familiar to the fans, but you have to do enough change to make it different. And it's quite hard to do. I've only played a couple of cups on it so far. But what I will say, I think it's got that really nice aesthetic of Mario Kart. I think us Mario Kart. You can jump straight in from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and you'll be drifting around corners and you'll be winning races. So it's got that to it. But they've also just give you that bit more, a few more weapons and that you can use, more characters, and then you've got the open world side of it, which I just found myself driving around and trying to find things and going up this little swirly mountain part, and I just thought, yeah, this is quite a lot more to an add-on for something that's just, you can just do this. I think this makes this a really big game and a lot more in-depth and a lot more playable time to this game. Yeah, I'm impressed with it. I can see myself putting some hours into this, really enjoying it. I think friends round playing as well. It's great fun. I've seen a few people say it doesn't really look that good for 4K, and I think I'll disagree with that. I think it looks, Mario as an animation and as an art style is what he's going to be. So what you're only going to add is your pop in, your depth of screen, and your 4K resolution, which they've done. I think it looks really good. It looks gorgeous. Yeah, I'm quite impressed, to be honest. I know people are saying about this £80 game sort of thing. It's obviously cheaper if you buy it with the pack-in. It works out about £50, I think, if you buy it as a pack-in with your Switch 2. But yeah, I think it's the same as like Mario Kart was for the Switch. I think it's one of them that you'll always have and you'll always keep playing for the life of the console. And yeah, I think it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's good. Yeah. What about you?
I tell you what I thought. From the minute I turned it on, got to the loading screen, you see Mario storming down that desert road.
Yeah.
The scenes that we saw from the trailer comes up and straight to the screen. And I thought, this has got the hints of something special about this.
Very polished.
Very, very polished. Transitioning through the menus, I was thinking, this has got a little bit of grit to it. Went in the first one, obviously did the race, and you get the section where you race the next race, and I was like, I'm having fun and I'm smiling and I'm enjoying myself. And you know what? That's what I want from Mario Kart. Now, I know people are saying, I know you brought up the money thing, and what I'll say about that is we get Mario Kart now, it's 80 quid, or we got it with a bundle, it was 50. You get Mario Kart in 10 years' time when the Switch 2's on its arse, it will be the same price.
Yep.
Get it now. Great thing. You're never not going to have it in or around your console. You got a virtual game card version of this because you got it packing in a box, right? So it obviously means the plastic case is 30 quid's worth. Fair play, Ninty. That kind of stint of a period of it always being in there, just waiting for my train, I'll just have a quick go on Mario Kart, just what's in the console, I'll just have a quick go on Mario Kart World, I'm just going to have a little mosey around in Mario Kart World, between games, just have a quick go on Mario Kart World. You can see it now, and then all of a sudden, price per minute ratio of enjoyment, this game is not even a consideration.
Yeah, it's not a one and done game, is it? It's something you're going to keep going back to.
I will always appreciate that not everybody has got $80. Not everybody has got $450, pounds. Call it what you like. I know that, right? I do know that, and we're here to review it. And we also understand that people have to make a compromise. But if you're saving up for a Switch, you're probably best off getting that Mario Kart World Pack. And if you only then have that one game until Christmas, when Granny gives you a little bit of money, you're not going to complain.
100%.
On top of the slew of new Switch games that have arrived, of which I chose Cyberpunk and Mario Kart World, RGT chose Mario Kart World, and he's yet to pick his second wife, my wife. But both of us and the Switch have one of the most enviable libraries going. And I know you shouldn't come in, pick up your brand new console, sit down and play a game from 5 years ago, but hell, we're going to, because RGT, in my experience, if I may be so bold, now, obviously these are Switch games, so you can only push them so far, but load times improved, texture pop-in reduced, solidity of the graphics I'm witnessing on screen massively improved. Witcher 3 to me looked like a different game to the one I played historically on Switch. I'm not saying it was this, that, I'm not saying it was the patched version. I'm not saying that, but certainly the quality of the textures close into the camera was higher. The spread of the textures and the pop-in as you got further out into the world was massively reduced. So I was very impressed with that. And certainly it became, I would say it was never unplayable, but certainly moments made it feel like the Switch was struggling to make your actions represent on screen in the way you wanted them to. Yeah. Or they didn't unfold the way you wanted them to. Now, the responsiveness on the buttons is there because the code is not even sweating. Yeah. It is super enjoyable. One of the best examples because I think you've got the upgrade packs to discuss, haven't you, for Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
We'll major on those in a moment, if we may. Yeah. Obviously, I slapped in F1. Now, we've joked about F1 on the Switch before because F1 Manager, listeners, if we want to be explicitly clear, it's on the PS5 and things like that is flawless. It's instant loading. The graphics are incredible. Now, again, this hasn't been patched in any way, shape or form, but the brute force of which Switch 2 means I'm not waiting 2 minutes for the circuit to load underneath the cars.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything's got, there is that moment. It's a bit like when you put an SSD in a PS3. If you blink and you'll miss it, but it's better than blinking twice and then the proper texture fading in.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the kind of was that flaw there or not?
Yeah.
But it's there now, and that's all I care about. It's a bit like the version of RoboCop that they launched. Where for a moment their eyes would be hanging out of their head, and then you'd look again, and the texture had loaded, and it was fine. This is the kind of experience. But I'm happy. I slapped in Farming Simulator as well just to see, and that looked really solid. It's a very old game on there now, but it did look really, really solid. And I think that's my takeaway from it. There's nothing where you're like, oh, it looks unbelievably better because these games aren't patched, but the solidity of what you're seeing by forcing that Switch code into the very best situation it could ever be in really pays off.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I think for anyone that don't know, basically what Nintendo have done, they've done it in software on the Switch 2. So you'll have a certain few games which have had an upgrade patch, like your Hogwarts Legacy, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, things like that. But your OG games that haven't, they have a software inside.
Hogwarts Legacy's got one.
Yes, yeah, that looks completely
that was
different.
In the store for £12 last week.
Yeah, well, I was watching IGN today, and they were comparing Hogwarts Legacy Switch 2 and Hogwarts Legacy Switch, and it was night and day. It was.
Has it got rid of the load in between areas?
Yes, yeah. All that's gone.
Money.
But basically, what to cut it down, right? Basically, what they've done is, if you get a Switch game that was always chugging along a bit, they've literally wiped the Vaseline off the screen, made it clearer, and knocked it out at 60 FPS where they can. So these games are now running smoother, and they look a lot more clarity on the game standard. Like George says, these aren't massive patches. They've just refined it, made it look a bit sharper, and they've put this as where they can, 60 FPS.
Just to be clear, in the games I talked about, there were no patches.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
Games you talk about, they have had a patch.
Yes, they have had a patch. They've had literally, I mean, like you say, they've had a 4K upgrade patch where these actually haven't. They're just running the Switch software a lot better. Basically, the software they've got in the Switch 2 recognises that and pushes it on a bit. Now, I tried, before I go to the Zeldas, I was talking to you about it, and I thought, do you know what? I've got FC24. Now, I always thought that was a decent port of that game. I always played that on the PS5. Always played the FIFA games on PS5. Now I bought that on the original Switch to go on holiday, and I thought that was the first time. Obviously, they dropped the FIFA name, so they went all in on it a bit, rather than just making an old PS3 title that they just kept doing legendary editions. They had rebuilt it from the game up, and you had literally everything you had on the PS5. Now, frame rate was a bit jaggedy, and also I always found that when you done your interviews after a match, your manager got stuck before he'd even walked in the screen. He said, "Ah," and then you carried on having the conversation. He was just stuck there.
Oh,
now, but the actual game itself, you had everything. You had your youths, you had your transfers, you had everything that the PS5 game had, which I thought was quite an achievement to get that on the Switch. Now, tried it on the Switch 2, straight away, update. Oh, there's an update for this. I didn't think EA would patch EAFC 24, but I'll pop it in. Had an update, lasted about 15 minutes, played the game. When I first booted it up, I thought, resolution's better. That looks nice. Providing FC 25's already, has been out a long time. Why they'd patch 24, I don't know. But anyway, looked really good. Started playing a training game before my main match, and I thought, don't know if it's changed anymore. That still seems a bit jaggedy. But played the game. Frame rates are so much better. So much better. Really made the game more playable. I enjoyed it anyway, but I think now when the new EAFC comes out and the Switch 2, are you going to be missing out if you've got a Switch 2 rather than a PS5? I don't think so. They're going to be as close as you can get, I think. And yeah, this is a very, very playable version. Now, I tried the first half of the game with my Pro Controller, which is an absolute joy to play EAFC with. Them smooth analogues and the controls suit that controller so much more, maybe even a little better than a DualSense. It really plays to the strengths of that. And then I played the second half handheld mode, which I struggled. I was 5-0 up at half time. That finished 5-4 because I struggled so much with, like you said, with the Joy-Cons.
Well, that's those Joy-Cons, yeah. And I don't quite know what it is that triggers it to be so odd in your hand. I don't know whether it's the short throw or
I think it's because
the sensitivity.
You have to be more. Yeah, I think because your sticks are larger and you've got more angle. It's a bit more sensitive, I suppose. But anyway, still played really well. Looked really good on the screen. On that little screen, it was as smooth as silk. It was, the frame rates were brilliant. So that was really, really positive. And then I went on to Breath of the Wild. I've been wanting to play that again.
You see, now that has had an official Nintendo expansion pack release that's taken that from Switch 1 Zelda to, let's face it, let's not beat around the bush here. It's a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild. Pretty much, yeah. Because obviously, if you've got the expansion pack and you're online, that's a free upgrade. Other than that, I think it's $7.99. Am I correct? I think they're £10 per upgrade.
£10. Okay. So yes, I've done Breath of the Wild. I've been wanting to play it again. I've hung off because I knew they were doing this upgrade for the Switch 2. Put that in, played that straight away. I thought frame rate 60 FPS. This thing is smooth. It's so much smoother. You don't notice how much smoother until you go back to your original Switch, which you didn't notice much, but now you play, you think, oh my God, that is smooth. And also, that cel-shaded graphics, I just sat on about putting that in 4K. That makes it look so pretty, so smooth. The draw distance, and when you look closer and you haven't got any jaggedy grass now, it's smoothed out.
Yeah,
it plays. This is the definitive version to play. If you're going to play Breath of the Wild and you're getting a Switch 2, wait to get and play it on there.
That this has dropped, because one of the biggest disconnects I had with that game was it just. I know older Zeldas don't look great either. I mean, N64 Ocarina of Time, but it has that had something that just drew me in, especially at the time because it looked incredible. But even now, it's got that nostalgia for me. But this I didn't have any nostalgia for. This is OG Switch 1 version, by the way. And everything was so barren, it just felt so lifeless. But I've seen footage of this now where you just get that little bit more detail, and it's like, that's what I was missing. I'm really excited to play this now.
See, I love that being barren. I love that. You felt like you're alone, you're out there.
I get the idea of you feeling barren and on your own, but this was barren because it was the only way they could make the graphics. Like that opening world is is gross.
Well, yeah, you've got to remember as well. This is a Wii U game. It's not a Switch game. It's just a Wii U game
It doesn't
released
matter
on the
whether
Switch.
it's on PS5 or Xbox Series X or playing on my grandma's slipper, mate. That opening world is gross.
Agree to disagree. I love that opening world.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Just
but-
that first section with the church in it is gross. The rest of it, I'm totally open to having a discussion about. But that, as an opening world to you, here you go, let me throw you in the deep end with nothing but this bearded man who Mumsy normally tells you to stay away from. I'll be honest.
Offering you a cooked apple.
Offering you a cooked apple. What a very strange experience to offer up to a child. But, I get it, Zelda, I do. But talk to me more about these. Is there anything else been upgraded? Sound?
Like I say, I haven't tried with my headset on yet. I want to try it with my Pulse, see what it's like. But it does sound good. They always had good sound on Zelda games. They had very good physics for water splashes and the sound of water raining down, and that was always very good. They were good on that, so I can imagine this has had a boost. But this, to me, and I know people saying, "Oh, Breath of the Wild again, it's now on its third generation of console." Yes, it is, right? But if you haven't played it and you've got a Switch 2, it's the definitive version to play. That's basically what it is. But it does look like a new game. This has really refreshed it. And I've seen people online saying, "Oh, it doesn't look any different." And I'm like, seriously? You could drop
Even
to
I have to admit that it looks a hell of a lot better now than it did before. In fact, it looks like a work of art now.
If you had a lot of them goblins and that on the screen when you're on the Switch, you could almost drop to 15, 16 frames per second. That got a bit chuggy. Now it's just so smooth, and it is, really glorious. And they always had lovely, like when you went to a shrine and you had that blue light come out, it always looked nice on the Switch. Now it looks really, it looks pretty. It is good.
Good. I was hoping about that.
So they look good. And I've just tried some of my games I had installed. I got the puzzle game, I can't think of what it was, the Mana one. I've been trying. That's the load times are so quick, they're snappy. You're in the game now. It's just smoothened everything out of your original library, and it's just nice that you can pop them in now, and you've got snappier load times, quicker in and outs. They look a bit better, and where they can, they've really improved frame rates on them. So I know not all games. Some games have dropped their resolution in the favour of FPS a bit, but overall, from my experience, so far so good. So, what about you? Is anything else from your OG you've played on there and tried, George?
Wrestle Empire actually got a patch. Matt Dickey, friend of the show,
Really?
It came out prior, but you obviously couldn't select it on the OG Switch. But we've got the maximum textures now. I think you can double the amount of people you can have in the ring, and it was already ridiculous, mate. If I'm honest with you, so
really,
Wrestling Empire will always be on the go for me on there. I did try bumping down. I've got the No Man's Sky patch for the Switch 2 downloading as we speak. Obviously, Sean Murray's always, the first game I ever bought for the Switch 1 was No Man's Sky. Okay, let that be I love that game. I loved it when everyone else was taking it on PS4 launch day, I thought it was great. It was everything I wanted it to be. It's now gone a little bit beyond what I ever wanted it to be. It's become a little bit more impersonal in a way, but anyway, I'm excited. I was excited to see Sean did a little video saying we've got this update for the Switch 2, we've got the graphics up to this level, and I'm thinking, this is incredible. This is what I wanted No Man's Sky on the Switch to be, but now we're knocking on the door of the modern gen content. It's not that good. It's like PS4 Pro maybe, but it still looks absolutely delicious, and I'm quite excited to dive in myself. Because it was a miracle that game ran on the OG Switch, but now
it's a hell of an achievement to get that on there.
Now it gets its chance to spread its wings and for people to enjoy it for the reasons why we're enjoying it everywhere else. Plus, one thing I have to crow about is the OG Switch had the cross-save functionality on Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Well, it's also got cross-save functionality on... Well, it had cross-save functionality on Witcher 3 that I often talked about. I play it on PS5, save to the cloud, carry on the Switch, save to the cloud, play it on the PS. Cyberpunk's got the same cloud saving mechanism, so you can play it on PS5, play it on the Switch, play it on
And
PS5. Play it on
also,
the
what we
Switch.
didn't mention, it's got gyro if you wanted to use gyro. Plus, it's got mouse controls as well. So
Yeah.
they've added that in, which is for day one to have first-person game with Joy-Con mouse controls and gyro. 'Cause I know a lot of people like gyro. I quite like it in Zelda's. That is handy at times. So yeah, that's all on there from day one on Cyberpunk. So yeah, superb.
So you got that, and then feels like I'm flogging a dead horse now, but No Man's Sky has that cross save functionality as well. So you can be
Wow.
playing not necessarily on the Switch, but you can play on your PS5, get in the car, go somewhere else, be camping with Mumsy. Admittedly, you need the internet, so maybe
That's
not, but then
I
you can
like
obviously
that.
carry on.
Because
I
you know
think
how
that it
you
means
think
can
how many
carry on
hours you've put into No Man's Sky, and if you're 90, 100 hours in, to just think you can save that to the cloud on your PS5, take your Switch 2 on holiday with you, and just carry that save, that is brilliant.
My point exactly. You don't need to worry about packing. You don't need to worry about making sure you've got that memory card in your back pocket. It's just literally done. And
Yeah.
if you downloaded the cloud save to your Switch before you left, you don't even need internet when you're gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's that. It doesn't. The Switch One made its way. Are you ready to wrap up? Because I think I'm formulating a wrap up
Yes.
for the Switch 2 review.
Yeah. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I mean, the Switch One came along on a bit of a dark turn for Nintendo. Obviously, the Wii U had crashed and burned, and I owned one and felt burned myself. When the Switch launched originally, I kind of stood back from it a little bit. And it did come in wearing a different coat initially. Yes, it was your favourite little Ninty console, and it was a combination of your DS, and it was the combination of your home console, and an evolution of the Wii U concept of having the screen separate from the TV to allow you to sit with family members while you played, or with the idea of the Switch, literally just go out in the wild, very ungamer-like. But it masqueraded as that guy, that kind of third wheel in the menage a trois. You're dating a girl, and then there's that sort of woman or guy that's kind of in your circle that you can't get rid of. Call them a gooseberry. I don't know what they call them in the United States, but something similar. And the Switch actually masqueraded as that gooseberry, as that cook, as that man in the corner of the room watching his wife as somebody else. It was that console that was, you had a PlayStation, but you had a Switch as well. Well, for gaming on the go, it's acceptable. It was the way that Nintendo kind of got back in the zeitgeist of gaming after a pretty dreadful time of it with the Wii U. And the Switch One kind of clawed and scratched its way along with some Wii U ports, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, all that sort of stuff. And it had its own games. But Switch 2, it's not the cook anymore. No. He's the main dude. I think Switch 2 is strong enough to stand, not graphically, admittedly, but ecosystem-wise, it's right up there. There's something RGT said earlier about compromise. There's always been a little bit of compromise with the handheld. There's always been a bit of a compromise. This time, so far, in my experience, there is no compromise. And it's the first time I've ever been able to say that out loud about a handheld gaming experience. PSP, bit of a compromise. Screen was a bit garbage, didn't have the dual analogs. It really didn't feel great. Vita came along. Oh, hello, here I am, kind of halfway house, but not really. OG Switch comes along, like I say, dressed up as the guy. He's wearing a pig mask, comes around your house for a barbecue, ends up keys in the bowl, bit awkward, off you go. Switch 2, he's come in a suit. He's a gigolo. He's going to take you out somewhere nice, buy you a meal, put some headphones on, and give you surround sound. You're not going to know what's going on, but it's probably one of the best gaming experiences you've ever had. And it's the level of refinement. It's like Switch, but good, but with so much more to come. And I don't know if that might be a controversial thing to say, but I think it's very true.
For me, I think, I agree with you 100%.
I can't imagine you're going to wrap up with the cook reference, but I want to see you try.
It's going to be nothing like that. Yeah, it's good. Right, carry on. No, seriously, I was late to the party with the Switch. I jumped in on the Switch Lite, then OLED.
Yeah.
And you're very true. It was the console you had to take on holiday while you couldn't play your Xbox or your PS5.
Sadly, mate, it was, wasn't it?
Initially, and then I always thought people who only had Nintendos. I thought, oh, you're missing out. You should have a PS5. You should have an Xbox. Get that 4K. But then after a few years of playing the Switch, I started getting it. I started getting the hybridness. I started getting. Well, hang on. After a while, I started thinking, why am I buying a PS5 port when I buy the Switch port and I can carry on holiday? Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't have a portal. And then that all then started. So then the Switch 2 comes along and you suddenly think, yes, you're right. There isn't. I don't think there's a compromise anymore.
Right.
You can sit at home and play a big boys game in 4K, no problem at all. Then take it out, pop it in your case, and away you go, and you still play that game. And you think there isn't that, oh, yes, I'm playing Switch of 3, but on the PS5 Pro, it looks awesome. Now, with the ports we're going to be getting on here, you're going to be thinking, oh, hold on a minute. And you're right about Cyberpunk. I watched the Nintendo Life review of Cyberpunk, and I was just thinking, you would not think this is on a Switch. This looks stunning. This looks... And they were sort of saying, oh, well, yeah, it's not as good as a PS5, blah, blah. And I was thinking, that ain't far off. That is not far off. It looks very good.
The thing is, it never turned up to pretend to be a PS5 version, but what it did turn up doing was looking absolutely fabulous.
And I think now, like, for instance, if you're on the Switch, if you only had a Switch and you had, for instance, like I said, EAFC, if you had an EAFC game on the Switch, all your mates would be like, oh, no, that's garbage. You need to be playing it on the PS5. When EAFC 26 comes out, people aren't going to be saying that. Because it's for what graphics you have on EAFC, I don't think it's going to look any different to a PS5. And I know people are saying, oh, God, all you've done is just brown-nosed Nintendo over this console. But from our early impressions, it is very good because at home, it's a 4K, 60 frames per second plus really nice games console that plays really well. Not only that, you've then got a portable system which you can carry on playing those games on a really nice 1080p LCD screen. It's a very, very good all-rounder. Years ago, you were a handheld or you're a console, but you're either good at one and not the other. This is good at both. So far, it's very impressive. It's a bit of kit. I think it's where gaming could be going with having that hybridness, but now you've got the tech behind it to get the best of both worlds. So yeah, very, very good and very impressed.
To your point, it still is a little bit of a compromise in a way, but the compromise, I suppose, now is indistinguishable. The compromise that you're looking at is indivisible from the problem that you're facing. It's nothing. Well, I think that the Switch 2's come around at a time where we've almost hit a brick wall with graphical development as well. And the Switch 2 has got in at the very back end of what could be considered good fidelity.
So true.
And now it can map through on the same journey as at least the PS5 and the Series X until they call it, and then do a pretty similar job of what the Switch was doing when the PS5 and Series X came out in the first place. It's going to be able to hang on.
And what made me think that as well was this Hogwarts Legacy. I was watching it on the comparison video today, and I was thinking, Mrs. RGT's got Hogwarts Legacy on her Switch. She plays it on the Switch Lite. She plays it in handheld, so it's not subtusive in a handheld mode. You put it on a big screen, and you sort of think, ooh, there's... You've done a good job getting that onto a Switch, but when you compare that to a PS5 side by side, you suddenly see the Vaseline on the screen, the delay, the loading going through doors. Mm-hmm. That's now all gone, and you're thinking, hang on, this looks really good. It's 4K. It's Hogwarts Legacy. I find it you can see the PS5 is better, but it's very, very close.
It's got me pumped for Star Wars Outlaws on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, if Ubisoft do it properly, it's gonna be decent. It's gonna be
banging,
decent.
Isn't it? It's gonna look good.
Yeah, it's I'm just very, very impressed that you can have a handheld it's a really nice size screen, but a decent handheld to travel with, and you can just pop it in that dock, and you've got 4K 60 FPS on your screen at home. It's impressive.
The thing is, like, the dock is large, but it's not too obtrusive. Like, I've stayed away at times, and I've never been the person to take like the big home console away with me. And last time I went away, I went with some colleagues, and he took a PS5. And like that day,
I should laugh.
You shouldn't. That day, I said to him, "What are you doing?" So I'll play PS5. So, what Portal or something? What's Portal? He said. I was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. What do you mean you've been playing PS5?" I brought my PS5 down and set it up in my room. Fair enough, I suppose. It's only one HDMI port. And I thought to myself, I haven't ever done that, but I've done similar where I've took the Switch dock and set it up in the hotel so I can play it on the big TV.
Yeah.
Just a point of portability of the console generally to close on. Obviously, the last Switch was very portable, but it had that really chunky wall adapter.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's now a little brick and a USB-C to USB-C. Flawless. Now, if you do want to take the dock, it's still not massive, is it? So you can still...
And it's going to be like the OG Switch. You're going to get these travel docks you can use if you need to.
Which I had, and it was a game changer. So as soon as it comes
tiny
out,
little thing.
I'm happy.
Yeah, so it's portable that way as well. You can't fault it for that. It's definitely got that portability. But you always thought of Nintendo having the games, having the first party titles, but they are always behind on the tech. I don't think they are now.
I think they've managed to get themselves at the back of on the grid, but at the back of the grid.
Yes, no, you're correct.
But it's good enough.
Yeah,
And
it's good enough to say, hang on, is that PS5 or is that Switch 2? What is that? You're now starting to think, whereas before you'd go, oh God, yeah, that's the Switch. Jeez. But now,
definitely. I've talked about at length my kind of disparity between Witcher 3 PS5 and then playing that cloud save version on the Switch. I couldn't even work out where I was. It would pick up. Hang on, I thought I was in that town. Oh, yeah, I am, but it looks so different.
And what I will say as well, this is early days of the system as well. So you think what people were doing at the end of the Switch life, they were really pushing stuff what they could do. Borderlands always done good ports on there as well. Now, I wonder what we're going to be seeing 3-4 years into this. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Into as well. Let's draw a line under the Switch. I think we've reviewed the living wits out of it. If there's any corner or intimate area of the Switch that RGT hasn't invaded with at least 3 of his massive ham-like fingers, and certainly that's one hell of a review if it's withstood that. If there's some little crevice that we haven't probed or stretched, you let us know and we'll cover it off next time. Plus, if there's any questions or intimate answers you want about the Switch 2, jump on the Discord or messages at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Or if you really want to feel invigorated and you felt certainly very, I don't know, like a born-again person after listening to our Switch 2 review, you could even follow the link at the bottom of the audio show and pay us some money. For that, RGT, there are tiers. We're not going to talk about them here, but they start off great and they end great, and somewhere in the middle you end up with a T-shirt and a wooden postcard. I'll be honest with you, you couldn't ask for much more. RGT, those people that have ponied up, as I call it, to join the UCP community and also support the show with a financial donation, they get their name read out as one of their perks.
They certainly do.
I'm going to start with the finest man Sweden has ever,
without doubt,
will ever produce.
Mm-hmm.
The best there is, the best there was, the best Sweden ever will be. Cenox. I doff my cap to you, sir. You're out there repping UCP merch on the streets of Sweden. You are one of life's winners.
Mm-hmm. Without doubt. Next up, we have the fantastic one-man George fan club. It is Carlos, who has also, I've noticed today, just purchased his Switch 2. Yeah, and I think he's an Outlaws fan.
Pre-ordering. He just walked down there and bought it. He didn't get. He
just kicked the doors in midnight. Kicked the doors in. Switch 2 now.
I'm going to pre-order it in case I don't get to play with that new children's toy on the day it comes out. Carlos, no. No. He's got balls the size of grapefruits. He said, you know what, I'm a guy who likes to live dangerously.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait until it comes out. I'm just going to walk in the shop and buy it. No question.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Thank you, Carlos. And I hope you enjoy your Switch too. I'm sure you will.
I hope you enjoy your overpriced children's toy.
Who we got next?
The PS5 and Xbox as well. Up next, the man who will take 1 penny that you give him, shine it up, and invest that penny all the way up into $1 million. It's firm returns. He's a man who can take your financial disaster, turn it round, and turn it into the biggest success you've ever seen in your life. He also sells penis extenders.
Next up, we have Trestles of New York. Thank you very much. Long-time supporter of the show. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Trestles. Everybody stand up for what you believe in. Bada bingster Italian dude.
Another new song?
No, it's one of those ones, it's a bit like a fart that was quiet and also didn't smell. No one knew about it and it kind of disappeared. Bada Binks is a great guy, but what I gave to him there was a disservice.
I was thinking that. But thank you very much, Bada Binks, for all your support. Next up, we have... this is the man for Nintendo. No, this is Smoking Jacket. Cravat.
No, mate, something happened. Overnight, he got a Switch 2 upgrade. He sat bolt upright in bed, because he lives here with me. He sat bolt upright in bed.
That's the new one. Yeah, carry on. Laws changing quick here.
Yeah, he's been
Go with it.
Me for
Ride the
a while
wave. Now. Ride the wave.
We are in love. He sat bolt upright in bed, and I turned to him, and his head did 360 degrees, and then his eyes kind of just went black like a horror movie. And I was like, oh my God, this is unusual. Tingle, tingle, are you okay? Tingle, tingle, are you okay? And then he just opened his mouth, and out of it came just a stream of like old school internet dial-up noise. Like, and it was, I'll be honest, I was shitting myself. I'll be honest with you. As you would do if your partner sat up in bed and did that.
Bleep that, Phil. Bleep the... Yeah, we're cutting this out now, so bleep that. Yeah.
No.
After last week.
Right, let me tell you, he's sacked. Then, just these twos just rolled into his eyes. Fine. These twos rolled up in his eyes. And he became a Switch 2.
Wow.
Let me tell you, though, detaching and attaching the Joy-Cons never felt so good.
So, are we not Cravat, Smoking Jacket, Nintendo Games Library, just a little puff?
No, that's all gone. He's Cesare, the guy that you employed for the smoking, the little puff. That guy that you employed. I had a gentleman contact me from Brussels the other day, a representative for the Little People's Union. I'll be honest with you, RGT, the UCP lawyers, the legal department, I will say to you, has expressed most outrageous concern at the suit that's being levelled at us.
Who we got next?
If you want to settle out of court with Cesare, off the record, they said that might work.
Thank you, Tingle Tuner. Who we got next?
And for clarity, if you call him diminutive smoke blow in future, that would be slightly more appropriate.
Thank you, Tingle Tuner. Who we got next?
Well, the only person that was required to help sort out that whole scenario you just mentioned with Cesare is Digital Monkery, the Discord sheriff. If he sees a crime, He's there before it's even happened. It's a bit like the Minority Report. He lies in bed next to me because he lives with me as well. I've got Tingle Tuner on one side, DM on the other, and he sleeps with his fingers in the Ethernet socket of this old laptop he's got. And somehow he uses that to be at one with the Discord. He knows that a crime is, and he kind of sits up bolt upright. So it was a bit scary last night because someone wrote something naughty on the Discord and Tingle Tuner got his update. Boof, up like that. Both of them, like rocks, up in bed. Boo, either side of me. I was like, bloody hell, I don't need to help first. I felt like I was skiing. Boo, boo, either side. I was like, Tingle, are you all right? DM, okay? Anyway, transpires. He sorted it out. It was a quick edit was needed on a post. Someone slipped up. But he's all good. So thank you for that, DM.
It's good to know we've got that security. Next up, we have the wonderful Gaming Graham. Thank you very much for your support.
Passes the source Gaming Graham because he lives with us now. He lives at the foot of my bed.
Oh,
And it was really weird because he
God.
sat up bolt right.
This is going to be a long list this week, listeners. A long list.
And just as a warning, I was the one who said we need to do the listeners straight this week. Who's next?
I just did Gaming Graham. That's your turn.
Okay, so I get Bold Border. He lives with me now.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Bold Border. Who's
He's on the half pipe in the garden.
He is.
Next up, we have...
Going Brad.
Bran. Bobaluba. Thank you very much, my man.
I tell you what, he's out there right now like a 17th century poet. I think he should rebrand himself as Love Sword.
Who we got next?
My beautiful red-headed stepson. Sort of thing that gets thrown out the night after a bad night. But not by me. I'm his stepfather and I love him.
And he's probably... And I would imagine Ginger's now probably halfway towards getting 800 platinums now because he's an absolute platinum king. So, yeah, absolute machine, that boy. And next up, we have the Lord of Darkness himself, who did message me the other day and said, I'm now actually playing Oblivion as a Lord of Darkness, and he's now playing it the evil way. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's Harvey Retro. Thank you very much, Harvey Retro. And, yeah, I love that playthrough. That was very good.
Now, this next listener, thank you, been on a world tour, actually, sat bolt upright, sitting at the end of the bed. Emma Sharp, she lives with us now. So she's there, she's kicking off, Tingle Tuner's kicking off, DM's got his finger in an old Toshiba notebook. Anyway, thank you, Emma. Just nice to see you around the place. She makes the East Wing look beautiful.
Without doubt. Next up, we have Greg, who is nowhere near Berlin. And I wonder
where is he near?
Oh, no one ever knows, you see. You can't even track him. He's got military planes on that tracking app. You can't see him. There's no way of tracing him. He's there
Look how
somewhere.
Happy you were. He's like a plane.
But,
he's a freaking transformer.
And I wonder if Forever Skies will be coming to Switch 2.
We need that. We need that exclusive news. We need to be the ones to break that in the gaming market sphere. If that happened, honestly, it'd be like Emma Sharp moving in all over again. It'd be next level. Up next, Mumsy.
Thank you, Mumsy. Has she moved in or is she?
She's moved out because obviously
you're a bit overoccupied now, aren't you? So
well, she felt like a Switch One, a PS, PS4 and Xbox One party. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, we have the RGT fan club. Thanks to all of you, and you know who all you are. Thank you very much.
Up next, a man that's kneecaps are used by Fred Dibner, God rest his soul, to smash down chimneys in the Black Country.
Who is it then?
Oh, he doesn't need to. Everyone knows that's Pete Brocklehurst, mate.
Well, obviously, but some people might not. Next up, we have the wonderful Billy Marmite. Thank you very much, Billy.
Have you ever licked the wrong side of a Marmite spoon?
No.
Good. It's deadly.
No, I've heard.
Does that mean I get Simon Pryke?
Yeah, I can see where this is going. No, so
Perfect. Transformed into a bike. I rode him like a trike, even though he had 2 wheels, not 3. It was okay because I rode him so hard it made me happy.
and last of all, do we have to do this contractually or do we just
Yes. No, in fact, seeing as you've been so harsh to me over the last few Zangiefs, I have a Zangief for you to do, and I want you to method act it.
harsh? I don't think I've been harsh. I think I've been very
you
fair.
set you set your stall out like it was the first one, but I was also in a darkened room, sort of, and I actually took myself away and thought what that would be like, and I cried while also Zangiefing. So what I want from you, I'll be honest, what I want from you is
Right.
I want you to Zangief, but I want you to feel like a journeyman. I want you to feel like you've thrown a couple of Zangiefs around at home. You feel pretty confident. You've seen the boys doing the Zangief symbol at school, and you kind of laugh because you know what it is. You're like, yeah, yeah. I'm not one of those, but I am. But I know what that is, but I don't know what that is. So let's say you've had like 6 Zangiefs, so you're feeling all confident, a little bit boisterous. You started on a Monday, it's Friday already, so you're all over it like a rash. Now, what's happened there is on the way home, you've gone the field way. You've not gone the normal way. Oh, Timmy and Tommy went off a different way, and you've gone the field way. Anyway, there you are, minding your own business, and you come across what looks like a few pages or something stuffed in the bush next to the
Oh,
footpath sign.
Jesus.
Anyway,
Christ.
you pull them out. There's some pages out of Kay's catalogue, the maternity bras section. But I don't know what's happened to you, but it's come across you like a blood rage, like a poison. You've laid them out on the floor in front of you, and you're a bit confused at first. You thought, why would someone put these Kay's catalogues? I wonder if it's the SNES. Oh no, it's not. That one's see-through, and it's just hit you like a wave. I'm talking
Sweet Jesus.
like a train hitting a wall, and you've just Zangiefed. Now that's the Zangief I want from you.
Gee, that took a long time to describe.
Yeah, but
This is not an introduction to a book.
Yeah, but where you give me a couple of bullet points and I fill in the gaps, I feel you need to see the whole journey so you can. I want to get the best Zangief out of you that I know that you've got. As a director here, I feel like I need to coach this out of you.
That's the worst thing. You're looking me in the face while I'm doing this.
I wanted to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah,
I'm going to shut the laptop off. Jesus, we have just lost the PG rating. If there was ever a trouble, it is gone now.
Don't you worry about it. Right, okay. So,
can I just get this out of the way?
Yeah, but put the effort into it as I gave. You've had the pre-build up now. You know exactly what I want from you for that moment. Boom. You've got the backstory of the character. You know the motivation. You've seen the magazines on the floor. Give me the Zangief. Action.
I hate you, by the way. Zangief.
I felt like that was great, but your mic popped and it cut the top level off, so we just got the. That's it.
Okay, I'll try and do it quiet.
Try and contain your performance.
Like that.
We got the full surface there, so you can have another go. You ready? Take 2 of RGT's Fat Zangief. Switch to review. Action. Zangief. I have no idea what happened, but I hope that makes it onto the audio, and I don't know how you did it, but you just came like a Dalek.
I'm now going to confession, because I feel wrong.
Just put the magazine, put those papers in the bin.
Well, I might take them home, but... Anyway... What are you hoping to play, George?
Just Switch till it falls apart. I want to touch, poke, and prod every single Switch game I've got into the slot and back out again. I want to see how it performs compared to what I remember. I'm going to play an awful lot of Cyberpunk. I'm probably going to play a little bit of Lord of the Rings. And that's going to be me a very happy boy.
Mm.
What about your good self?
Hopefully get GTA 4 wrapped up this week. I'll see where Zangief is with that, so we can maybe discuss and announce the next game on that playthrough. Also, what I forgot to mention, do apologise, DM, for our drop me pen. For our what we have been playing was the pinball game, which is our challenge this month.
Yes, that was quite good, actually.
It's very good. We're on the Wild West board. What's that called? Pinball FX, is it? I think it's Pinball FX, I think.
All I know is it's not Pinball Fantasies.
No, I'm sure that is Pinball FX, I think. But anyway, yeah, we've been playing that. We're playing on the Wild West board, and it is to get the high score, basically. So I was there for a while with 6 million, but I've been blasted out of what with Ginger. I mean, he's got 20 million now, so, but good fun, quick games, in and out, high scores. Yeah, really good. So, yeah, I've been playing that as well. So I'm going to play a bit more of that. And then just switch to, I think, now I've sort of, as of record and finish work for the week, so I'm going to play some more Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World, play a few more of my Switch titles to see how they've been improved on the Switch 2 and just enjoy the system. I think it's that early new console fun. So
good. Well, I've got to go away again, so I'll be able to report back on the true portability of the Switch. How
and battery life, that sort of thing. And
exactly that. So I'm very excited to do that. Well, I'm not excited to go away again. That's all I seem to do. But yeah, well, I guess that draws us to an end, RGT, and I say thank you for listening. That's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. I look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming, and remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, RGT.
Ladies.